All right. Oh, wait for the there.
Yeah, we straight chillin', serial killing, pre-cold villains on the mic, got you reeling. 5-star rated from the floor to the ceiling. If you catch a 1-star, no time for feelings. Got a demon DJ on the ones and twos, by the name Beelzebub, so don't get confused. So grab a seat by the fire, roast them all over two, and prepare to hear the legend of the straight chillin' crew.
What up, nerds, and welcome to another skeptical episode of Straight Chilling, the weekly horror movie review show where you chill and we kill, slice, dice, and chop up yet another horror movie. My name is Bob. I'll be your host for the evening. This is episode 468, recorded Sunday, March 24th, 2024. Tonight we're talking about Late Night with the Devil, finally. Before we get into it, let me introduce everyone else on the show. First up, calling in from Washington, D.C., we got your boy Randeezy. What's up, man?
Are you waiting to receive my limp penis?
How's it going, buddy? Good to hear from you. Good to talk to you. I'm ready, excited to have a nice chat tonight.
Yes, all about limp dongs, apparently. That's,
Well-
what the hell is that bump from? Are you watching some sort
Oh
of,
man,
like...
I'm going to take you on a journey after this episode. It's too much to get
Uh-oh.
into right now.
That's a whole subgenre of porn I'm not familiar with.
Oh my
Can't wait.
goodness.
Can't wait to find out. Next up, calling in from Seoul, South Korea, we got your boy Soju. What's up, man?
Oh, what up? It's your boy, the great Soju. I see some danger for one of you. A strange blue wave made of plastic crushing you. Oh, it's our boy Bob. Oh, God, no, Bob. Getting crushed by all those blues. No, oh.
That's
God.
that's my kink, actually. So I'm
Being
good. I'm good to
Being
go.
crushed might be a real kink. I would be very highly surprised if it wasn't.
Oh,
honestly.
it is.
Just stack
Oh,
all
it
my
is.
blues on top of me. That's why I keep buying more.
I want to die. I want to be
More.
death by being pressed by blues.
More. I need to feel the weight. Last but not least, making her very first appearance on our show, everybody welcome our good friend Liz from Scariest Things. What's up,
Hey,
Liz?
y'all. Thanks for having me. Yeah. I'm excited to be here and talk about the devil.
Oh,
Yep.
hell yeah.
Yep.
This is we've been trying to get this collaboration going for I think almost 2 years now.
Yep.
We Randy and I have been going to the Overlook Film Fest for the past few years. We met you and some of your co-hosts there and started talking about nerd related things and our podcast and whatnot. And we've been trying to get this going for a while, and we're really stoked to finally have you on the show. And why don't you let everybody know about your podcast and where they can find it?
Okay. I'm Liz Williams. I'm one of the co-hosts of the Scariest Things podcast. We talk about that we're the gateway to the trends and tropes of the horror genre. So what we do every week is, or every other week, is we kind of pick a topic: sexy horror, serial killer horror, best remakes, and each pick 3 and walk you through that. We also have a website called thescariestthings.com with 1T, where we review movies, books, games, all sorts of horror and horror adjacent properties. So I'm in good company.
Right on.
Yep.
Yeah, for sure. So check out Scariest Things everywhere you get your podcasts for sure. It's a good listen, a good sit, and looking forward to be back in New Orleans with you guys here in a couple weeks, actually.
Yep, just a few weeks out.
Yeah,
Man, so close.
so close. Well, before we get into the main event, let's tackle a little bit of housekeeping real quick here. This is your final reminder. Our April poll is currently posted on our Patreon website. If you guys support us at the $5 level or above, you get a chance to vote on a movie we're talking about this April. The theme for April is AI. April Fools. What a perfect topic for this episode. And you got 3 random movies that were chosen by the AI overlords. We don't know what they are. You don't know what they are. Random option number 1, 2, and 3. Little bit of change up here in the numbers. Nothing too crazy. Option number 1 sitting at 14%, number 2 at 59%, and number 3 is coming up. Some sitting at 27%. So who knows? The past couple months, there have been like crazy upsets in the
That's
last
true.
24 hours.
Well, it is
Um,
your last week to vote or upset. So here you go. We're
Yeah.
heading into
Just the
April soon.
Don't
The
upset
trend has been
Randy.
to upset. Yeah, well, impossible to avoid, I assure you.
I'm always upset. That's my secret.
That's my secret.
I'm always
You know what it's like to go to
grumpy.
sleep every night knowing you work for a bunch of psychotic killers?
God damn. I know what that's like, actually. Yeah, so get your votes in. Just a week or so, a little over a week left to do that. And we'll see what random movie we're talking about this April. And in other Patreon news, we're dropping mini casts every other Friday. Last Friday, actually, we dropped a Q&A with the 2 directors of Late Night with the Devil that we recorded at last year's Overlook Film Festival. We've been sitting on that for like literally a year. Finally put that out over on Patreon. So if you are interested in hearing what the directors were thinking as they were making this movie, that's available for you. It does have some spoilers, so try and watch the movie before you listen to it. Next mini cast we're going to be dropping on March 29th. That's this coming Friday. And your boys Soju and Randy are talking about the latest season of True Detective Night Country.
Yeah. Randy and I
Oh,
tag
that's
team in that one. That's a rare mini cast right there.
Yeah.
It is. It's a diamond level mini cast. I've just invented a tier system.
So extra sign up for that one.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah, that was a pretty interesting show. It seemed to have some like Thing vibes going on with it. Lopez.
Sneaky Christmas horror,
Um,
Bob.
Issa Lopez.
Yes, Issa Lopez.
yeah.
Yeah, directed it. Previously did Tigers Are Not Afraid. Big fan of that. So yeah, check that out. Dropping over on our Patreon website this Friday. And speaking of Patreon, we do have a brand new Patreon supporter. We got to give mad shouts outs too. Big thanks to Eddie M for signing up on Patreon and showing us love. Every dollar you guys contribute goes right back into the show. It really does help us keep the show going, as is tradition around these here parts. We owe you the straight chilling salute. This one goes out to Eddie.
Slap my ass.
Thank you for joining, Liz. That was very,
Yes.
very diplomatic of you.
These guys are idiots, but I guess,
Yeah.
I'll do it too, I guess.
Well, that's slapping ass. What? I thought we were saluting. What's going on here?
When in Rome, I'll be an idiot too,
Yep,
I guess.
I'll slap it.
When in Rome, slap some ass.
They
That's the
did
rule.
slap some ass in Rome.
I
It's,
think so.
I think we all can agree there.
Gentlemen, this is Democracy Manifest.
Okay.
Weird.
Oh, boys.
Got some
That's-
weird
yeah.
bumps this week, Randy.
Strange goings on. That's all the Patreon news we have. Do you guys have anything else you need to plug?
I do have
Um,
something.
yeah.
Actually, there's something we all need to plug.
True.
Mhm.
I believe this week is the episode that will be dropping over on Plug It Up, where we all 3 featured talking about spring. Finally, Bob, that's one you've been pushing for a while. Caitlin finally, gave
was
you
my
your time.
savior.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you.
To talk about that movie, and then we just shat all over it. No, I'm
Movie fucking sucks.
Ugh, who would pick this for a poll 3 times?
Probably an idiot.
But no, yeah. So check us all out over on Plug It Up, discussing that with Caitlin. It actually, I think, was a really good conversation. It always is with Caitlin.
Yeah, totally. A lot of fun. At the time of you listening to this, that should already be out over on Plug It Up. So yeah, check it out. Anything else?
Yeah, one last thing related again to Late Night with the Devil is an article that I released on the subject of homages and references in this film. That is on our website at straightchilling.com.
Hated website by the globalists.
And you can go. That's actually been sitting on the back burner since last year, like in June,
Damn.
maybe. And I thought I was running behind. No, I was not. It's been sitting on the back burner, and I'm so excited to have served it up finally. But it also contains some spoilers, so acknowledge that. Check this movie out before you read it. I would recommend.
Yeah. Cool. Sounds like our house is clean.
Well, no, Bob.
No? Okay.
You did a feature episode recently that I want you to promote.
I mentioned it last week. Are you talking about
Oh, did you? Well, it just came out. Mention it again.
Ghoulish University?
Yes.
Yeah, I was on Ghoulish University. I'll mention it again.
It did come out
yeah,
to like Friday, so you know.
True, yeah, it just dropped last Friday. Tales from the Crypt. If you have any interest in Tales from the Crypt, check out Ghoulish University everywhere you get your podcasts. I was fortunate enough to guest on their show talking about season 4, episode 5, I believe it was. Beauty Rest is the name of the episode. And yeah, it was a really good conversation. Had a really good time watching some Tales from the Crypt because I haven't seen any in quite a while, and they're just going one episode at a time until they work through the whole show. And yeah, they're on season 4, so they're about halfway done, I guess, with the series at this point. So be sure to check it out.
You're officially a Ghoulish University alum. Congratulations.
I'm
House
the
is
lunch
clean?
lady. Yeah, I think that house
Okay.
is clean. Yeah.
Yeah. Here we go.
His house is clean.
All right, let's get into the main event. We're talking Late Night with the Devil, and we're kicking it off with the back of the box.
What's on the back of the box?
Bomb? When are you gonna
Hi.
order this box?
As soon as I can.
Yeah.
I need the weight on my body. I need it. That's why you get the steel books. They weigh more.
weight.
They
Crush
wait,
me.
yeah.
All that aluminum.
Yeah, I know. It's so heavy. They're not made of steel, guys. I don't know if you really know.
What? Ah.
Crazy. I know. Liars. Sons of bitches. The aluminum
some
book
industry secrets right there.
doesn't sound good. Aluminium book. Yeah, so I don't have this yet. You can't pre-order it yet, but I'm sure you will. You'll be able to soon. Shudder puts a lot of their original movies out on Blu-ray, which is really cool of them to do. So, yeah, there you go. We're talking Late Night with the Devil. This finally got its theatrical release this week at the time of us recording this, and it's going to be on Shudder April 19th, I believe. So you'll be able to watch it at the house real soon. This is rated R with a runtime of 1 hour and 33 minutes. This was directed by brothers Cameron and Colin Carnes. It was written by them as well. Stars Data Dustmalchian, Laura Gordon, Ian Bliss, some other wonderful folks. Plot synopsis brought to you by IMDb is as follows. A live television broadcast in 1977 goes horribly wrong, unleashing evil into the nation's living room.
Hollywood's gone from not being very cool to really being uncool, hadn't it?
Preach it, brother. That's I don't like that, guys.
Yeah, I don't know why we
anything,
got
really.
so many bumps.
Yeah,
from that
it's,
show now.
Buddy, you have
Use
no
those sparingly.
idea. In an hour, I probably recorded like 45 bumps from this.
You need a hug. I'm sorry. So we've
Worship gore.
goddamn, as we've already mentioned, we've all seen this before at various festivals over the course of the past year. But would we recommend folks check this movie out? Liz, why don't you kick us off?
I would absolutely recommend that folks check this movie out. 100%.
Right on. Do you think is this something that you need to see in the theater or wait for Shudder?
I have seen it now twice in the theater. I was lucky enough to be at the world premiere at South by Southwest last year, and then I just saw it preparing for this again. And while I think it's great in the theater, especially if it's a packed house, I think this also might be one that would benefit from watching it in your living room, since it is a talk show and supposed to be, you know, what people were seeing on their TVs. So I think you would be fine either way. But
Yeah.
I want these kind of movies to make money at the theater, so go out and spend your dollars.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Copy paste for sure. Ray and Deezy, what about you?
Oh yeah, I was pretty psyched on this movie from the get-go, and I'm still pretty psyched on it. I think that you definitely should, to my mind, you should go see it in the theaters. A, because we need to support small productions that are this good, and then also because it's like this is best diegetic, as Liz described. I think it'll probably be best in your living room, but I also think it's going to be seen that way endlessly every Halloween, at least for me, until the end of time. So I'm relishing the fact that I get to see it in a theater for the time being.
Right on. Juice, what about you?
Yeah, I would recommend people check this out, and I had a great time watching it in the theater. So it's not necessary, of course, especially I think the big thing too would be it's coming out streaming in a month, and it's a Halloween film, so I could easily see why somebody would want to wait to watch this, and that's fine. But yeah, I had a great time with it, and it's one of those horror films where you're like, some come out and they're like not that good or whatever. This one's good, so if you're worried about spending your money on like a quality film that you're going to see in the theater, this is a good one. So yeah, I would recommend that people check this one out in theaters. Good watch. Bob, how about you? Do you recommend people check this out?
Yeah, I definitely would recommend watching it in a theater. I think this I don't know why they decided to release this in March, because it is just a full-blown Halloween movie. And they also chose to release it on a very crowded horror weekend because Immaculate came out, that new Ghostbusters came out, and this movie came all on the same day. So it's very crowded for the box office. And also there's this like lame backlash that we'll get into about some AI being used in this production. So people are like boycotting the movie on top of it. So like, I don't know how much this movie made over the weekend. I haven't looked. But I do think it warrants support. So yeah, throw a few dollars at it and check it out. And it is good. I think it is genuinely a good movie too. So it's worth your time. Sounds like a pretty hearty recommendation across the board from all of us. So we are going to spoil the shit out of this movie. And here comes your warning.
Spoiler warning.
Bob, did you type up
Hi.
a brand new plot synopsis, or did you save it from last year?
I typed up a fresh plot
Oh, okay.
synopsis just
Whoa.
for you.
Thanks.
The extra
Extra
you.
mile.
Just for me.
I knew you'd ask, so I had to do it.
Sometimes I forget, like last week.
Sometime, and that was okay.
Yeah,
that worked
that's
out.
probably the most acceptable week to forget that.
If you want to keep
Yeah.
forgetting it, I mean, who
I won't
needs
bring
it?
it up.
I really love to
Uh,
hear these plot synopsises. Bob, please.
Oh, okay. Well, in that case, here, this one's for you, Juice. So this movie is set in 1977. It starts off as a sort of faux documentary providing a brief rundown of the late night TV show host named Jack Delroy. Talks about his life and career. He hosts a show called Night Owls, and he's been struggling with his ratings. He recently lost his wife to lung cancer and belongs to a secret society called the Grove. On Halloween night, 1977.
Orgy.
Yes, precisely. Halloween night 1977, he invites several guests onto a show who deal in the supernatural in an effort to bump his ratings up, and the results are catastrophic. The remainder of the movie is that lost footage of Night Owl's Halloween show, included with some occasional behind-the-scenes footage that was filmed during the commercial breaks. First off, Jack welcomes Mystic Christu onto the show, who cold reads a few audience members. He claims that he can commune with the dead. Towards the end of his segment, a spirit named Minnie causes him great pain, and nobody in the audience seems to know who the heck Minnie is. He walks off. Next, Jack welcomes the famous magician turned skeptic named Carmichael Haig onto the show. He claims Christu is just a gifted showman who's lying to the audience. He also offers a $500,000 check to anybody that can provide concrete evidence of the paranormal. He carries it around with him. Christu doesn't take kindly to being called a fraud. At this moment, Jack sort of confesses that his secret pet name for his wife was in fact Minnie, and he thinks she was likely trying to communicate to him through Christu. Christu then falls ill and vomits this black-looking liquid all over the stage. He's taken to the hospital, but ends up dying in the ambulance on the way. Next, Jack welcomes psychologist June Ross Mitchell and her now adopted patient, Lily. Turns out Lily was rescued from a satanic cult and claims to have a demon inside of her.
Devil
Much to-
made me do it, did he?
He did, allegedly. Much to June's dismay, she agrees to summon the demon in Lily to offer evidence of the paranormal to Carmichael. The summoning works, her face and voice change, and she levitates on the stage. Carmichael's still not convinced. He claims it's more showmanship. He then hypnotizes Jack's trusty co-host, Gus, and he hallucinates that worms are coming out of his stomach. He also manages to make Jack and the audience hallucinate the same thing. They played the footage back to prove no worms were on Gus whatsoever, and that it was a group hallucination he was able to pull off. They then play back the footage of Lily's possession, and she still just looks very possessed, proving no hypnosis was at play. Lily's demon seems to know Jack. He says they met amongst the tall trees. Lily, at a certain point, seems to be overcome with electricity. She starts shooting it out of her hands, and her head splits open. She lifts June up by her necklace with her mind and cuts her throat. Lily snaps Gus's neck and appears to roast Carmichael from the inside out. Jack has a vision of his sick wife laying in bed. She alludes to him making a deal with the devil to improve his ratings, but the deal demanded a cost, and that cost was her life. She asks him to put her out of her misery, and he stabs her in the stomach with a dagger from the cult. He then snaps out of his vision and sees he has actually stabbed Lily. As he stands alone on stage, surrounded by corpses, we hear the police sirens wailing in the distance as they approach. Roll those credits.
Don't touch that dial. You need to hear this.
There you go, man.
Nice and uplifting
Long time.
ending. Yay.
Yeah. Where do
Feel
we
good,
start
Rob.
with this, man?
Randy,
Oh.
so you wrote like a really cool article. I did read it, by the way. Good job.
Ooh, wow.
Bravo,
High
Randy.
praise.
I think we could definitely touch on all the influences that you highlighted there.
Sure.
Also, I think this is just like the first thing off the top of the dome. This is like just a fucking great idea for a horror movie. Like this concept, this specific concept is so like tantalizing to my brain. I love the concept, and the way it's sort of structured and the way it plays out, I think is largely pretty damn successful as well. All the characters at play and how they have this interaction and this sort of like slow ramp up of tension. I just think it's all put together very, very well. And the aesthetics, I think they pull off pretty much flawlessly. It's I think it's just really well thought out and really well assembled. I don't know. I love it. It's good shit.
Well,
Yeah, I mean, like-
I think
Sorry, go
they,
ahead.
I think that not only it's smart like to base it in this talk show, and it's fun to go retro, and it just seems to hit the right notes by, hey, let's make it a Halloween special, and we can use this these retro looking Halloween costumes and all the like textures and everything that they choose in here too. It all just stacks on top of each other in this wonderful way. So already the aesthetics of the 70s like look great too. And then to also add in that Halloween element, which just like elevates it more. I love the theremin aspect
Yeah.
to it. You just, those
Mhm.
things that we mentioned when watching old Simpsons specials and stuff, that was from the 90s, but sometimes they're pulling from influences, that are coming from the era when they were kids because they were
Right.
writers in their 20s and stuff. So it has this like trickle down influence on us. So it's I just it all like aesthetically, the texture and everything, it all works really well, stacked on top of each other. I loved it.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
like what's great about this is like it hits for me, and I think for you guys as well. We all like have collectively as we've recorded, the three of us, and I don't know if you're the same, Liz, but we're like kind of drawn to these diegetic found footage, like live event sort of things. Ghostwatch is a huge favorite around here. WNUF Halloween special, the Out There Halloween mixtape. I think I got that
Mega
close to right
tape.
this time.
Pretty
So, yeah,
close.
what's that second
Close.
title?
Yeah.
Pretty close.
It took me fucking 2 years or some shit. But yeah, like all these things that are like, purportedly, live footage or, live broadcast or whatever, that sort of thing is just very like it hits, like Rob, like you said, it really hits like a desire that up until those movies I started becoming aware of them, I didn't really know that I wanted. And this is just such an extra fun one because it does use all of those styles and textures, and it references something that I've always been kind of like interested in, which is like late night talk show level stuff. I'm a huge like Larry Sanders Show fan. That's mentioned in my article for that reason. And just like, I don't know, like the behind the scenes stuff, like the acrimony between the players and all that stuff. It's so many of my specific interests just rounded up and put into a fucking tight hour-and-a-half package. I gotta love it.
The only thing it's missing is ska for you, Randy.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah,
there's a
if
ska
there's some
punk
rock steady
band.
beats in here, man, I'd be fucking dead.
Yeah.
Um,
Liz, yeah, jump
Yeah,
in. How
I
do you feel?
totally agree. First, I love seeing David Dust Malchin as a leading man. He totally pulled it off, and he can carry a film. And he's a great character actor. And God, last year he was. If you saw a movie, David was in it. From
Yeah.
Dune
Yeah.
to Oppenheimer to this movie. I also do. I love the found footage. I love the '70s vibe. And for me, being a little bit older, I wasn't watching these TV shows in the 70s, but this is, late 80s. I can remember, you had to watch live TV. So having this as something that you had to see it to believe it. And then I like the faux documentary setup. I'm kind of a sucker for those kind of movies as well. So yeah, this had everything that checked all the boxes for things that I like. And I like that it was super relatable to late night talk shows. We all know the format. The Satanic Panic, we all kind of knew the format of that Michelle Remembers book and that. So it brought in so many things that people were familiar with and just upped the game and added a lot of creativity with David leading the charge. And he did a great job.
I had a little bit of, there's not a ton of trivia on this. I have a little bit though. So the directors of this movie, like, we're familiar with David's work and, we're a fan of his work and stuff, but what really put them over the edge and like wanting him specifically to be their lead is he wrote an article in Fangoria that had just come out when they were trying to put this movie together. And it was all about horror hosts, like local horror hosts and stuff. And he had like a great knowledge of it. And they read that and were like, okay, let's just see if he wants to do it. And of course, he was like, yeah, absolutely, I want to do it.
Right, because David does. Is it Count Crowley? And
Count
he
Crowley,
did
yeah.
the
the
Tingler
comic
that we all got to see last year. So he does a late night horror host persona. So I didn't even put that together until you said that. Yep.
Yeah, and he hosted the Fangoria Chainsaw Awards as that character that he had created last year. Which was a lot of fun. I've said this before. I hope they do that again this year. I hadn't heard anything about it, but it's a lot of fun. So he clearly has a great affinity for horror hosts and talk show hosts in general. And I think he brings all that here and does a really good job with it. And hopefully this gets him a little more, bigger roles and not just like smaller character work, which he does excel in for sure. Yeah. But I think he carries this movie pretty well.
Well, and he'll be on the top of lips even more so than he was for those bit parts anyway. And I think this is this showcases him in such a way that a lot of character actors don't get a movie like that they're the center of, you know what I mean? And not only that, but one that's, people are all we're pretty excited about from the word go. I think I don't to whatever extent, controversy aside, I think that this movie, generally people saw this trailer and were like, fuck yes, give me this. It's got Michael Ironside narrating the goddamn trailer. This is incredible. So I don't know. I just think this is really hitting on a lot of especially horror fan interests that are just peaking right now, or at least very much in the mix. So yeah, it's good for him in so many ways, and certainly with the horror crowd. This guy's gonna have a mainstay at any con. He's gonna have a table at any con he ever wants to go to for the rest of his life.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, so speaking of some of the elements too that were touched on, it's another thing to we were talking about stacking the aesthetics, weaving them in with the Halloween, but also to the horror element. So talking about why horror fans would be drawn to this, I also think that they impressively were able to work in so many different little elements that all work well together, because you do have the main aspect of the possession, which nobody's going to be really new to. I mean, even last year we had Exorcist Belieber, and you have all the Annabelles, you have all the thing, that's been a popular thing for a long time now. The Conjuring movies, most horror fans are going to be familiar with that. But to be able to touch on, I love how they brought in the hypnosis aspect of it. You have the cult aspect of it. You have these different things weaving together so well, again under the guise of Halloween, or the tint of Halloween. It's just an impressive, chill movie. It's a thing where it's I'm being impressed by the craft of it, not the hugeness of it. And I think so many people have or I don't know. As a moviegoer, I've gotten a little worn out by movies just having to go bigger and better and show me like more shit. And it's fun to get a movie that's bigger and better in its concepts because like when
Mhm.
you really start to pick this apart like we have to, when you're like picking at these elements, you're like, wow, this is really well crafted. Each one of these elements weave together and stack on each other so well that it's nice to have this bigger, better moment that's more like intellect or just from a craft standpoint, not just like, here's some big boom, it's just some
Mhm.
shit. So I don't know. I love as a horror fan to get all these like elements on top of something that's already familiar and have them work so well too. So yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. I think the inclusion of like the Bohemian Grove type stuff
Yeah.
and also like sort of indirectly referencing the Michelle Remembers book because like it's like both kind of timely things. People have been talking about Bohemian Grove for a while, I guess, but like the Michelle Remembers stuff, I didn't know anything about that until the documentary came out last year. Satan Wants You, which is all about that. This book that a therapist wrote with one of his patients.
Get behind me, Satan.
God damn it! About allegedly like unearthing all of these locked memories that she had being abused by the satanic cult. It was all false, all completely made up. And they would go on talk show hosts and do things like this, and that allegedly was a large part of the beginning of the Satanic Panic. So like that documentary coming out kind of helps cue up this movie a little bit too. For me, anyways, it informed me quite a bit. So I think there's a lot of these things are just like kind of on people's minds already too. So this is just sort of like a really nice culmination, like all of these different aspects, and it doesn't
Sure.
feel jumbled or like forced in any way. It feels like pretty cohesive and just well written. I think largely well written. There's some of the like behind the scenes stuff took me out a little bit. Like I like the additional information we get in those sequences, but there was a moment when I was watching the movie, I was like, who exactly is filming this and like why are they filming? I was a
Right.
little confused by that, which some found footage is what it is. It's rarely airtight. But that was something that did kind of take me out of the quote immersion. Randy, did that? I know you're an immersion man. Did that
Oh,
take
you triggered
out
me
of
with
it?
the word
I'm
immersion.
triggered.
Oh God. Yeah, no, I kind of agree. And like, here's the thing: is like, again, I'm a big Larry Sanders guy, and that is essentially like how that show operates. They do
Yeah.
diegetic interviews with celebrities as if it was a show, and then they'll show like a tight shot of Larry, like talking shit with the guest, or like telling Hank to shut the hell up, or something. I don't know, whatever it is, like, or behind the scenes or whatever. Like it's a single camera setup, just like this, and like it's like that connection to me. I guess I was maybe super prepped for that. And so as far as immersion goes, I wouldn't say that it helped my immersion because yeah, there's that question of like, wait, who's filming this and why is nobody acknowledging that they're being filmed? That sort of thing.
These are like very private conversations they're having.
Right,
Yeah.
things
Right.
they definitely don't want other people to hear, and yet
Yeah.
there's somebody with a grainy Supermax camera standing next to them or something, and like,
Yeah.
so like if you interrogate that, it does like hurt the immersion to a little bit. But I think I'm just like I've streamlined that for myself because of my fandom of Larry Sanders and the Gary Shandling projects. So I don't know. For me, it wasn't a big deal, is I guess what that lands on.
You've been conditioned.
Yeah, I have.
Liz, did that bother you at all? Did that take you out?
I definitely thought about it. Really, just who's filming and why is the
Mhm.
camera so still and right in all those conversations? Maybe if they had done something where it was more sound and more of a shaky cam, even though I love a found footage where there's a reason
Mm.
why the camera's not shaking. Maybe for those pieces, if it had been more of a shaky cam, like almost clips from someone else on another camera, hearing something far off to put it together into this documentary format. But
Oh no.
I think I was so in for the movie that I forgave that. Yeah, but I
Yeah,
get it.
yeah.
I totally get those arguments of, yeah,
That's a really good.
what's going
That's a
on
really good point, though.
backstage.
Yeah.
Like I think that like you're right that maybe there was a better approach available in having sort of like they could have said that Gus, the sidekick Gus, his fan club was in, and maybe it was one of
Yeah,
them
or
behind the
something
scenes
back
filming and trying to get as much and they're like, we've combined this with the boom mic footage or audio and stitch this together. Like it would
Or
have been
even, they talked about
solvable.
they were saying some things of like, did you catch that on the camera? Did you hear this? And they're like, no,
Yeah.
we didn't hear it. Everything's fine. Maybe it could have been something from that other camera or looking at that other screen. I don't know. But I forgive it.
Yeah,
Right,
it's
exactly.
A little
Like I want to
nitpicky.
I'm
develop
still
on
in.
it, but
Yeah.
like
It's
in
a little
in a
nitpicky.
weaker movie, it would be a bigger problem for
Yes.
me.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Agreed.
But this movie has got me wrapped around its little finger is the
Yep.
truth. So
Yep.
Damn, Randy. All right.
yeah.
So this might have just been me, but like I was sort of a bit confused on whether or not it seems like Jack was very intentionally making a deal with the devil, this like Faustian type deal. But like maybe he forgot or something, because throughout the movie it seems like he's a little confused, like he doesn't quite know what he has done.
I think so. That was something that, when we saw it last year, I was like, I really, really love the movie. I have a little bit of a problem with the ending because I was kind of trying to put all those pieces together. So seeing it a separate time, being able to watch for things helped me a little bit. But I would agree that, all of a sudden we're taken out of the whole set of the talk show, brought into this like dream fugue state. And then, he's like, oh, wait, is this what I've done? Yeah.
Mhm.
So you don't remember? Is it like feelings of guilt? So I would agree with that. They don't really touch on that he kind of remembers he's a member of the Grove, or.
I don't know. I kind of feel like he does. Like I don't know. The ending is just a little bit confusing, like you say, but I think that like the way that it's positioned throughout is that I take it as he has definitely made a deal with the devil. He definitely knows that his wife paid the price. Maybe he didn't know that until it happened, that would be his price. Maybe that's what it is.
Right.
But like ultimately, like as he's going through this, he is not afraid, even as this shit that he clearly believes in is happening all around him that should alarm anybody. But it doesn't, because he's made that deal. He knows he's made that deal. And to me, that's him being like, well, this is all about the ratings. Whatever happens here, it's all in service of the ratings, which is what I traded for. It's all going to work out in my favor. It may be spooky. It may be scary. It may like freak me out. But ultimately, this is going to work out in my favor perfectly. I'm going to be on top again. But it was a monkey's paw situation, because I think that what he traded for was the best watched show in ever or whatever. And it became that by virtue of being a complete deadly disaster.
Yeah.
I felt like though he was kind of like realizing, I don't think he signed up and he said, I know I'm making a deal with the devil for the ratings. I want to be the #1 talk show. I want to overtake Johnny Carson. They say Johnny Carson by name. I don't think he realized that his wife would be the price he had to pay. And as he came through that, so I think there was like different levels of what he really realized. And then maybe when she was dead, he just said, well, fuck it. Now let's just go all out. There's no stopping, but I've got to get back up in the ratings. I made this deal. I lost my wife, but I dropped to, 6th place or something, they said. And now I've got to get back up. So that was just the only maybe problem that I had with it, was kind of his dealing
Just
with
his reactions.
the result of the deal with the devil.
That was kind of my take on it too. Kind of the monkey's paw situation. I didn't really realize that. I feel like they could have cleaned that up with his reactions, and it would have been more impactful, because one thing, that they do a good job of, we see that he's willing to put these people at risk, to exploit these people to benefit himself, and it goes on and on. And then it ramps up to a dangerous level, and I feel like that they could have, if him making the deal, I feel like they could have sold it more as like, he unknowingly did it because he was part of this group, and he's like, this group is gonna help, like he joined the group because
For
the
that
social
purpose.
thing, for that purpose. And then it has these ties with the devil, and like him maybe being more surprised that the devil shows up. But he plays it as more confused, of like, I don't know what the fuck's going on here. But I feel like maybe they should have played it more of, he's scared, like the devil has
Yeah.
come to collect his due, or
Right.
something like that. So yeah, I do think that they could have cleaned that up a
You know-
scotch, especially for more impact.
It's a little bit tricky though, because they do try, and I know that like this is my probably my bigger complaint is that the ending is telegraphed pretty hard. I think like it's not that hard to figure out where this is going, and it's but like by having him look confused, or at least less like by pulling back on him being like, this isn't how I expected this to happen or anything like that, like it allows for the audience in theory to be surprised by that ending. But
Mhm.
like it didn't, that surprise never really happened for me. So because of that, and I feel like for a lot of people that was the case, because of that, that obfuscation is just getting in a way of me getting to what Jack Delroy is feeling about this. So I kind of agree that like if they had just like addressed it a little differently, even if it was like I don't know, I think him being confused, he could be confused. He could be confused like this, like literally like this isn't how I expected this to go. Like I didn't think that it was get dangerous in here. I thought this was going to be the perfect show or whatever. But like he invited a fucking somebody who channels directly to the devil onto his show in order to do this, and so like of course the devil's gonna fuck with you. Like I don't know. Like,
Maybe not the
you gotta
best
expect-
idea. Yeah.
But it
Yeah.
also like when he is confronted with his wife, I think that like his reaction is appropriate enough for me, because it's not like I think he tells her I didn't know this was going to happen to you, but he's also shocked to see her, and it's like
Mhm.
it's just a method of torture that they're putting him back in that state of like, oh fuck, I fucked up. Like that's what the devil is doing to him as as part of his payment, or just to fucking do it because the deal's done. So I don't know. I think it's
Yeah.
arguable that you could wave that away, I think, if you want to, and I want to.
Yeah, I'm willing
I'm going
to as
to.
well.
Yeah.
Yeah, it might not be a perfect ending, but I think overall the idea and concept is strong enough and entertaining enough that like I'm not too hung up on it. I thought it was worth talking about though. Randy, there's the Carmichael character in this movie is very clearly influenced by James Randi, who was a magician who turned. I don't know if you'd call him a skeptic, but he would like debunk other folks' tricks and whatnot. There's a documentary about him too. Do you remember the name of that? I can't remember.
It's an honest liar is the name.
An honest liar. That is worth watching as well.
Yes, it is.
Supplemental
and
material.
That's what's great about this movie is there's homework.
Yeah.
No, I really loved that documentary when I saw it a few years back or whatever. But like, yeah, he's like a seminal figure in the skeptic movement. Like a lot of prominent like magicians and illusionists and that sort of thing, they count themselves among these. And sort of the line in the sand for them is like it's okay to thrill people as a performance, so long as they're aware that you're performing in some way and they don't think that you're a deity. Like that's unacceptable. So what's interesting about this movie is that they bring Carmichael Haig on, who is clearly a stand-in for James Randi, but he's kind of a shitlord, and he kind of like is just a huge piece of shit that just smugly like he just loves taking people down versus James Randi, who at least in that documentary, in fairness, I never met the guy, but like he seemed like a pretty decent dude who was just like trying to like help people not get one over on them. But like this guy is not that. He's very much in service to himself exclusively, which is kind of given complete legs at the end of his life anyway, when he is like offering himself to Lily or whatever's coming out of Lily in those final moments. It gets cooked from the inside. Like that shit, like I kind of loved the way that turned on him. Like at first I was like, man, they can't do this to James Randi. This is fucked up. But the way they handle it is really like cathartic and great. So fuck it. Like we'll have evil James Randi in this movie.
I like how the Carmichael character so quickly went from being a hardcore skeptic to just immediately worshiping the devil.
Yeah.
As soon as he arrives.
He like even tries to get access to Bohemian Grove and all that stuff at some point, trying to sweet talk Jack Delroy into letting him into the club. So
mainly for the orgies.
Mainly
for the
Which,
orgies.
to be fair, I mean,
That's right. I mean, and that's hilarious, but also it like indicates that he knows on some level, like as much as he's a skeptic, he's the leader of the skeptic movement. His big secret is that he does believe in something else, or at
I
least.
wonder. Oh,
Sorry, go ahead.
I wonder if he almost knows more than Jack about that. So like Jack kind of seems surprised that like yes, he's signed up, he's with these guys, but I think he had the expectation that they were going to help him with their wealth and power and connections, not with the devil. So I think that kind of that fugue state that he's in is realizing like, oh shit, no, this is not just like I'll talk to my buddy down at the golf club and tell him to give your show advertising dollars. And I think that Carmichael knows a little bit more of what's going on, so maybe that's why he was so quick to make that change of like, oh, it is real and I'm prepared, here's my upside down cross and I'm ready for the devil. It doesn't work
These
out,
people
but...
are the literal demon spawn of the pit of hell.
God.
Jesus Christ.
Oh
Well,
my God.
That's another, just a little like tweak maybe. So I feel like they could have maybe sold that from, I actually think that the change, because I picked up on the great Randy thing too. But I liked the change into the smug arrogance. I think that that was a good choice. And I feel like that they maybe even could have sold that a little bit more with his choice at the end by saying like his smug hubris comes from the idea that he does believe, and he's kind of calling out all the fakers. So if he was like a true believer, a true worshiper,
He's
of
offended by fakers.
Exactly. That he wants to tear them, and that's where his hubris comes from, because he's like, I worship the true demon or devil or whatever.
And nobody knows this but me.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So they could have pushed that a little bit. And maybe that's what they were hinting at, since he was prepared and ready to go. I just feel like they probably could have stuck that a little bit more. But I did like the change, because it is kind of cathartic to see that dude go up. And also he's just a fun like that whole sequence with the worms and everything. That's just such a fun, wacky sequence. And that's just another thing that which just became impressive, because you already have the structure. You're like, I'm familiar with this. I know where some of these beats are going to be going. Like Randy said, it's not that hard to kind of figure out where you're going to end up. But like that worm situation, him tricking those people and doing the hypnosis, and it's so like old school too, with the spinning wheel or whatever, and the black and white. It's like, I don't know. It's like this fun house, and then like you just go to this next room and like you kind of know what's going to be there, but you don't really. I don't know. It feels like this really fun thrill ride, and I think that they hit these fun, expected yet unexpected beats. But yeah, I really like that like worm sequence of him being like, "See, I tricked all of you people," and then like him going up later.
How are the worms?
That and like the ending also like for a weaker film would be a big critique for me, because those are scenes in which we are shown what people believe they're seeing, not what is on the tape. So like on a diegetic level, it doesn't really pass that test. And like it really, like, to me, like the fact that I didn't care like is kind of testament to how fun this fucking movie is.
Yeah. I agree. Didn't Carmichael also try to give Satan the check that he carries around?
That's
he
what
lights it on fire?
Dude, I think they could have solved that problem you're talking about with like him being like, whether like them pushing the idea that he is secretly like the most knowledgeable worshiper of all or whatever, and is just trying to get in the club. Like, I think that they could have pushed that by him being like, finally, or just having one line of him saying, finally, my time has come, or something right before he offers himself to Satan and gets fucked horribly. I think that would have solved it. But ultimately, like, that's how I took it. I didn't really have any question about that. And like, I guess it is a little bit ambiguous, but I never even questioned it personally. I was like, yeah, this guy, he knows the real shit. That's why he's not interested in these fakers and charlatans. It gives him a level of pomposity to, to be able to throw these hacks out the door while he's also secretly hunting for, the holy grail of what he's after. So orgies. Which,
if anybody wants to send out a secret, society message to Soju, go
50-50. Naked party in the woods.
How's that for a slice of fried gold?
Yay, a good bump. Thank you, Randy.
I'm trying to get our numbers up, boys, It's all for the numbers.
It's, yeah.
I will eat your ass.
I'll
In
pay
the
that
woods.
sacrifice, you know.
Wow. I'll attend the giant secret multimillionaire billionaire orgy in the woods. Take one for the team.
It's for
okay?
you
can-
guys. I'm doing this.
You
for
can give a
you.
quality rim to a Soros. You're in good shape, buddy.
A quality rim. The Christu character I liked quite a bit too. I don't know that he was like exactly as close of a 1-to-1 as like the James Randi influence was for Carmichael, but I think he did a really great job. I love that he came on with this really thick accent, and then when shit started to hit the fan, it's gone.
Yeah, he
It's
suddenly sounds like Hank Azaria.
Yeah.
it's so fucked up. It's like, oh, okay, that's
what
not
the
your
fuck?
real voice.
No.
Yeah, that
I
was
mean,
nice
he's a
touch.
stand-in for a lot of different guys. Just
Yeah.
basically
Right.
anybody who Randy came on and debunked, he was that guy. Or that person. So I think that him having a little bit more flexible personality was a benefit to them, and I think that the guy did a great job. Whatever this actor's name is, I'm sorry.
Ooh, I don't know off the top of my head either.
Faisal Bazi. I don't know. I'm
Yes,
probably
Faisal Bazi
mispronouncing.
is Christu.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So like I thought he did a great job. Like when he like had his his cold readings started off so cringy and hilarious.
Yeah,
But like did a great job at like ramping it up to that moment. I think of him like his eyes bleeding or whatever happened, like
Mhm.
him freaking out, or his nose bleeding. That's what it was. But like I kind of wish they had given a little more time to his to him being like directly debunked, because like they do have that with Carmichael. But
Mhm.
you know, I wanted it to be more of like a hands-on thing or whatever. But I also know in my heart that that would just pad runtime in a way that would probably
Right.
break down the pacing. So I can't really fault it. I just want more, I guess, is the issue.
yeah. Yeah, same. I like that Carmichael has that private moment with the ladies that he cold reads successfully, and they're like, yeah, there was this nice lady in the lobby, and she was asking us all these questions, and we had to fill out a questionnaire and stuff like that. So it does kind of at a certain point make you think, oh, is this all just a really well like put together hoax? Is this just an elaborate hoax?
Yeah. And if
So-
Carmichael could have like systematically broken that moment down and been like, that's actually your assistant, isn't it? Or something like that. Like, and like been able to break that down and or at least cast aspersions on it. Cause Jack is he's going all in on it for the ratings, and because he also knows that Supernatural exists. But like, I don't know. I think they could have probably done a little bit of that, just at least touched on it. And that I would have like just really put that over the finish line for me.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. Should we touch on the AI stuff before we land the plane? I guess
Sure.
since it's like such a hot button topic currently on the internet. There's I guess maybe three or four images that the design team on this movie used AI to generate, and apparently they did tweak those images, so they're not 100% AI to my knowledge. And
But they look
mind
like
you,
AI.
they do kind of look like AI. And this movie was made like probably 2 years ago, maybe longer, because we watched the finished product a year ago, and it was definitely finished before then. So it was before a lot of this like AI conversation happened, and like before this SAG contracts were rewritten and all that stuff. But apparently somebody found out there was some AI images used, and there was a big uproar, and people were going to boycott this movie. The directors have confirmed as much, but said, in a very minimal way. And I don't know, some people are still just very against it, which is like, it's an important conversation to have. I get why people feel that way. But Randy, I think you said it best. Like, this is the reason people have this issue is because they're trying to support artists. And by doing that, they're going to boycott these other artists.
Yeah, these are small artists making an
Yeah.
original product that is just barely scraping its way into the mainstream consciousness. Let's all like denigrate it into oblivion on the basis of the smallest aspect of its production. I don't think that that is pro art, personally. I think that it is fair and right and correct to criticize this movie for having used AI in such a way, and then also not having altered it later once that writing was on the wall. I think that's a very easy thing to do, especially when it's still in its festival runs and that sort of thing. I do think that if somebody comes out with AI in their product now, today, after all these conversations have been had, and after public the public has made its opinion somewhat known about this, or artists have. I'm in support of maybe boycotting a movie like that, even if it's good. This movie was made so long ago. There's so many factors to me that make this not acceptable, but understandable. And it doesn't hurt that I love the movie so much. Obviously, I won't deny that. So for me, it's like, I'm a professional artist. I do this. I work with, like, I've been working as a professional artist my entire adult career. So I don't say this lightly, that I think that there was always going to be a little uncanny valley between the development of AI products that are available to general users and the point at which we are now, which is everybody agrees that the artist should take precedent, and that's the artist whose work is being stolen in order to create these things, and the artists who have the ability to be hired for the jobs that they're taking away from them. I definitely support all that. I think it's fucked up that AI is going to basically devalue artists even more than they already are. And I think it's important to call that out in this movie and make people aware of it anyway, or at least it's okay to criticize that. It is criticizable. I criticize that. But I just don't think that that boycotting this movie or review bombing it, I don't think that's pro art. I just don't. I think that you're completely like throwing the baby out with the bathwater on this one. That's my
this
opinion.
film, what are the things that they're saying are AI? I mean, I'm assuming they're like special effects based things. Oh, they're not.
The
Okay.
It's just
interstitials.
3 cuts. So it's the show, and when they
Okay.
do like the "we'll be right back" or
Yeah, the
like just
images that
those
pop up.
flat art screen, like
Well-
no effects are right. What in it? Just like those.
2 of them are
images?
those, as my
Okay.
understanding, and one of them is a graphic that is on the set itself, like printed on.
Yeah.
I think it's the
Oh.
door,
The
maybe.
door. Yeah,
Oh,
the
okay.
That
graphics
uses
on the
that
door.
they.
So are they saying the AI used is like a computer made them and they didn't hire a graphic designer to make like that card?
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah, that they
Okay.
should have hired somebody, which would have been
But
pretty affordable, but it was a new and exciting tool that nobody had really sussed out the ethics
Right,
of,
and
or
who
not
knew,
nobody, but
like,
most
if they
people
made
had.
2
this 2
years
years
ago.
ago that this was
Yeah.
going to be a problem,
Such
they
a
might have
hot-
thought this
hot
is going to be a
topic.
cool new thing that filmmakers
Yeah.
who have very low budgets can use to spend money
Yeah.
elsewhere.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
I think-
okay.
and they had a
That
design
surprises
team
me that that's what it is.
that I believe chose to use it. So it's not like they just
Right,
didn't
okay.
hire anybody, but
Yeah.
No.
But
I do think that like I said, I do think that like if they they had the opportunity to make adjustments as things became clearer, and I know that there's a lot of push and pull with the film industry and artists in general about when is a product finished. Like a lot of people are very not cool with any like director's cutting or anything like that. Maybe they were just wanted to let it speak for itself and live with whatever mistakes came out. Well, this is one of those mistakes, and I think that they would probably be willing to admit that at this point. It seems like they're at least kind of doing that now, but they're still having to stick with their staff. They're not going to throw their staff under the bus because it was made in that kind of environment. And ultimately, I still think it's a mistake to keep it there long term, but that's coming from a guy who doesn't necessarily have a problem with retroactively, especially this quickly retroactively making adjustments to your wide
Yeah.
release. Like,
Yeah.
I wonder
like,
if it has
fucking
anything to
Cats was
do-
being edited in real time while people were watching it.
Right. I'm just kind of, looking at the production like groups to wonder if that was something. I mean, they're Australian. It's a studio that originally made it from the UAE. IFC Midnight picked it up at South by, but so I wonder if in where they were making it at the time, it's not how we're looking at it as more
Right.
controversial.
I'm
like in the
sure it
UAE, they might
wasn't.
be
I mean,
like,
UAE
"Fuck
is
it,"
already-
yeah.
Yeah.
like
But I know that they were in. At least the story that Desmalchian said on his response to this,
Mhm.
and that I believe the Carnes said as well, said that they were kind of in the room, like they were like aware of this decision, but they also were like, "Oh, this is a cool new technology. That's kind of
Right,
nifty.
right.
It looks like what we need. It's only on screen for 2 seconds. Let's just go for it." And
seriously, okay, yeah.
yeah.
agree.
So yeah.
Also,
I
too,
think
I
that's-
feel like we're like you kind of hinted at, we're used to, especially with a lot of the films that come out that people are anticipating, being able to be changed quickly. Obviously, studios throw a lot of money at them, and a lot of
Yeah.
it is just like, oh, change the CGI over here. So, you see something in a trailer, they cover it up with some
Mhm.
shitty looking CGI, anyways. And we hear about all these like, oh, recuts and stuff like this. But for a smaller movie like this, I honestly don't know the availability to change something like that 2 years down the road as it's about to drop in the theaters. I would assume it's a lot harder to just be like, "Oh, yep, we gotta switch out the." I don't know.
It might
Maybe it's
be.
not that hard, but I would just assume that it's I'm trying to think about, like, imagine our boy Franklin Rich made the Artifice Girl 2 years ago, and it's doing these things, and he had this like image in the background that's would he be able to just switch that out? No, I don't think he
Right,
would be
yeah.
able to
Yeah, well,
just
that's the thing.
switch
Even if-
that
even
out
if
on the
he-
fly.
Even if he was willing to and did, the thing is he doesn't own the movie anymore. Like these guys don't own the movie,
Yeah,
the directors don't own
yeah.
the movie. So it's really up to the distributor, like if they're
Yeah.
willing to. So
And if they
And I
really,
think
I
that-
guess, think it's
Sorry.
that big of a deal, since I
right.
like
yeah.
I didn't
Right.
even know, like just not reading, I had heard that there was some controversy, didn't do the research, assumed it was special effects based, but when you said, oh no, it's like
Mhm.
the thing that says we'll be right back, I'm like, oh,
Yeah.
I get it, but okay. I
Well,
feel like
that's
I
the-
could have
Yeah.
made that with clip art, and I'm not a graphic designer. It
Yeah,
wasn't
and that's the
something
thing. Like,
yeah, it's not anything
that's the
that
thing is those
impacts the
sh-
movie in
Yeah.
any
At all.
significant way.
at
yeah.
Like,
all.
it's set dressing. And like that impacts the movie, sure, but it is nothing but set dressing that could, for as far as the efficacy of replacing it, whether or not if they
Yeah, I
were
don't
to
even
go
think
in
you'd know.
and replace it, I think well, it wouldn't impact anything. First of all, to change those things, it wouldn't. At least in terms of the visual experience, I don't think
Mhm.
there's a problem doing that. The problem comes with it's really easy, actually. I think to like just based on my knowledge of editing, to just like swap out a card, like that's extremely easy. But the fact that they have one on the set is a lot trickier. They would have to like rotoscope that shit
Yeah.
out, and
Right.
that's time insanely
Yeah.
not cost effective. So I can understand that holdup, but to me, like at least the cards, man, you could like there's already people making their own versions of the artwork that they used, like artists. They're like, hey, buy this from me for $500, and you'll become a hero for rescuing this movie from AI or whatever however you want to position it. But I don't know. Ultimately, to me, it's like this is getting in the way of a movie that is in a rare position to get crossover success in the horror genre while also being pretty fucking original and
Yeah.
good. Like this is not the movie to put its head on a pike, in my opinion.
And
Why not
also,
do
like,
one of
a
the Star
small
Wars movies that
budget
uses dead
indie?
people?
Yeah.
Yeah, totally.
I don't know. It's just
CG dead
interesting.
folks.
This is just like something we're gonna have to talk about in the future, and things. Just another.
Yeah.
I don't know. I
Yeah.
almost want to say stumbling block for independent filmmakers, because it's got to be easier to use that than to find somebody to do what you need to do and coordinate. I don't know. I'm not a filmmaker. I think it's just something interesting and another
Yeah.
part of
And
the
that's-
process. But I'm
We're in a very
guessing-
nebulous zone with that technology
Yeah,
as it
it's-
is.
I'm
So,
guessing they made this in 2022, probably towards the beginning, because you've got to submit to something
Mm.
big like South by, and that comes out in March. So
Yeah.
yeah, I'm not gonna fault them.
I know
Yeah,
These people
another
are
really
helicopters, they got cocaine, and they are partying.
I know another really
That's what they're spending their
good
money on.
popular production that uses AI on a weekly basis. And
Yeah,
we're
we
not
do.
gonna take them down.
we wouldn't dare take them down.
Hey, we've employed a graphic designer. This is all on the open up, baby.
I
It's
edit
okay.
nothing.
No,
I
Randy's
see-
I use
background-
AI. I use
Randy's
AI as a
backgrounds are always
background
AI.
on the behind the scenes, and it's purely because I think AI sucks so bad that it makes funny images when I put in basically the synopsis of the movie. So that's the whole purpose of it. And if somebody wants to come for my scrote, have at it.
Nah, my scrote, guy. Leave my scrote. Yeah, I thought that was important to touch on, anyways. But I think we're on the same page, generally speaking. Are there any other big points you guys want to touch on before we rate this movie? Nah.
That I can
All
think
right.
of.
Yeah. I think we touched on just about everything. So let's go ahead and rate this out of 5. Liz, why don't you do us the honors and kick us off. How do you feel about Late Night with the Devil?
I'm going 4 out of 5. I really, really enjoyed this movie. Liked it again on second viewing, and I think this is going to be a crossover. Horror fans, like serious horror fans, will like it, and maybe a little bit. Some of the scaredy cats can take it. There's a little bit of intensity, but it's not Terrifier 2. So I think more
It's
people
not
can
that.
see it.
Unfortunately.
Unfortunately,
God
yeah.
for
Thank
that.
God.
You can do everything in that movie and not get boycotted, but you
Yeah.
can't.
Right.
But don't use AI. Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, for real,
don't
man.
use it now.
That's...
We're not advocating using it.
Yeah,
now.
no, we're
Let's
not.
Put that up there.
Oh,
Yep,
shit.
4 out of 5.
4 out of 5. Solid. Randeezy, how do you feel?
Yeah, I mean, I've made it pretty clear that I'm very, very much enamored with this movie. Even now, I've seen it twice. It's been over a year since I first saw it. When I first saw the trailer, I immediately knew that was gonna be my most wanted movie to see at Overlook Film Festival. And ever since then, it's just been like me desperately waiting for today where I could talk about it with the world a little bit because I just really love it. It's so many of my interests rolled into one. It's got such rich atmosphere, and it's building up careers that I think deserve to be built up. Like to me, there's very few negatives for this movie. One is, to me, the AI. I think that like using that was a mistake. I think filmmakers ultimately at the end of the day did step in some shit on their way to making a great fucking movie. So I will ding a little bit for that. I will also ding a little bit for some of the quibbles that we talked about, like maybe pressing on Carmichael's knowledge of the occult a little more, maybe concealing the twist a little better, or alternatively giving Jack a little more emotive reaction as he's seeing what's going down. Those little things I think are criticizable, certainly. And ultimately, though, for me, it all smooths over in the end. I will watch this movie dozens of more times in my life. I'm sure of that. And certainly around Halloween, this is going to be a Halloween banger. It's added to, Justin's usually the big seasonal guy around here. He watches those seasonal flicks, seasonal shows all year round. I'm not always as adherent, but this is going to be one. This one is definitely going to live right next to Ghostwatch, right next to the WNUF special, next to a bunch of other movies that aren't like this, actually, too, in my Halloween collection for sure. 4.75 is my rating.
Ooh, 4.75 for Randeezy. Nice. Juice, how do you feel?
Yeah, I'm feeling about that. I really like this one, and it does touch on just a lot of things that just push the kind of right kind of buttons as a horror fan, as a film fan, the time I was born, and some of the things that I like. And I think that they all stack well together, and I think that that is the sign of like good craftsmanship. Like, I don't think these things all fall into place so well without a lot of like forethought and a lot of like passion going in towards some of these things. And so I really respect how like so many different elements work together so well to make this really interesting film. To speak, and the thing about it is it's going to go into the overall rating. How I feel about the film is going to be boosted a little bit because we've said that we were just talking about this when Christmas season came around. When you specifically, or maybe it was on the Thanksgiving discussion, I think when we discussed Thanksgiving, when you specifically make a movie that is going to live for a certain holiday, you take some kind of risk because people are going to reach for that one, or like potentially reach for that one a little bit more. And so I give a little bit more rating weight towards that because I probably would be more likely to watch this one because I'm going to be reaching for it for Halloween. I'm actually like craving to watch it around Halloween. And so it's going to get more viewings out of it if it's good. And so, that deserves to be like considered. Like, did you pull off a good Halloween movie? Am I going to want to watch this for the next 10 years every Halloween? Yeah, probably. And so that's impressive, as opposed to like, Alien Romulus or something. It's like that might be a great film when it comes out, but am I going to be reaching to watch like Alien Romulus every year? I don't know.
Yearly?
Probably not.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Only on
exactly.
Alien Day.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. So
Well, if there's a Christmas tree in there, then all
Yeah.
bets are off, as we know.
so I think that needs to be considered in that. So what I'm feeling is I was feeling like a 4 for this and I think some of the things that kind of knock it away is a bit of the immersion. I know that you want to sell it in this kind of way where you have the single camera or whatever, but they didn't really put in the effort to like explain why we're behind the scenes and like why we're doing those things. And so I think that's, okay to criticize. Also, some of the way that they play with Jack and his understanding and like what's going on, and like from a narrative standpoint, it does get a little confusing and can kind of take away. So I think that puts it around a 4. But the seasonal, like I'm gonna reach for this often. Like I remember the first time I watched this, I immediately thought of Ghost Watch. It like I feel like that's gonna be like a perfect, almost like double feature, honestly, of like watching those back to back. Which sounds great to me. So yeah, I'm gonna end it at a 4.5 for me.
Nice.
Yeah.
Bob, round us out. 2-star? What?
Out of 5.
Turns out I was lying, and I hate this movie. No, I'm in the ballpark with y'all. I think one other small nitpick issue I had is some of the CG looks a little rough, like the fake. The lighting, the fake vomit specifically, because like CG liquid seems to be really, I guess, difficult to pull off. I don't know, but that really stuck out to me. When some of like Lily's facial changes looked a little bit off too. Everything else that I had an issue with, we've already covered. I just think primarily this is such a perfect idea for a horror movie, and I think largely they pull it off well. The vast majority of the ideas come through. The characters are really interesting. I think the pacing is on point. This sort of gradual build of tension. The late night like talk show host idea, making a deal with the devil, is all just so interesting. I love that they've got the band, and he's got like Gus, his right hand man. His man is there, and like the whole thing. I think actually I might have preferred, instead of the behind the scenes stuff, maybe just like some commercials, full WNUF style. Like, show me the goofy commercials. I might have been okay with that, to be honest with you. And especially if they are placed in certain situations where like there's a big cliffhanger where like something crazy is like really about to happen, and they have to cut the commercial real quick to like try and avoid showing potential bloodshed or something. And you as an audience member are like, what the fuck? I gotta go back and see what's gonna happen. Could have like really built some tension potentially. But it's a really fun movie. Definitely one that I'm going to rewatch on Halloween quite a bit. And I think I'm going to come in with a 4 even for my score on this one. And that's going to put our aggregate at a 4.3. So pretty dang positive. Hey now. Let's go ahead and jump into our Rotten Tomatoes segment and see what the critics and users have to say about Late Night with the Devil.
Certified.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, this is the Rotten Tomatoes segment of the show, in which I'm going to have these fine folks guess within the best of their abilities what the aggregate positive score is for Late Night with the Devil on RottenTomatoes.com, starting with critics and then moving on to users. Now, there are 112 critical reviews for this film on Rotten Tomatoes right now. So keep that in mind as you're doing your estimating here. I'm going to start with Juice, I think, today. Juice, what do you think that the 112 reviews net out to in terms of positive reviews?
This is tough because I don't know. Well, I think with the critics, I don't think there's going to be any like review bombing with the critics. Probably not. So, but I don't know. Maybe the controversy kind of like affects people in different ways and how they view this film and stuff like that. So I'm not going to like go too high, but I still think it's going to be positive. I think people are going to dig on this movie for the most part if they can separate themselves from that. So I'm going to take The Boys, Project 86, please.
Ooh, all right. The Boys. All right. We'll go to our esteemed guest, Liz. Liz, what do you think? Are you going to go over, under? Where do you think this stands?
I think I'm going over because I think 112 threw me because I feel like a couple weeks ago this was at 100% with just festival reviews and maybe some advanced press screenings. Now with the AI I still don't think it's going to drag it down that much with some. So I think it's going to be somewhere in the 90s. Like I'm going to say like 92 or something.
All right.
92
can
is
do a
good year
92.
for me. I'm going to take 92.
All right. Yeah, that's as good of a reason as any.
Yeah.
Bob, round us out. Are you going to go in the middle, above, below? What are you thinking?
Yeah, it's like it feels a little bit like cheating, but like Liz said, it was unavoidable. Everywhere is like this. The first movie, Das Malchen, is the lead-in, has 100% on Rotten Tomatoes. This is fucking everywhere. I'm sure it has gone down since the movie has actually been released, and I don't know what it's gone down to. Probably pretty damn high still. So I'm gonna, with that knowledge, I'm gonna take the high road here, with a 97.
97. All right. Well, I'm going to let you folks know right now that somebody is just 1 percentage point away from the correct percentage. And that person is Bob. This is a 96% certified fresh film on Rotten Tomatoes to this day. We'll see if that holds in time, but I think it will. I have faith.
I won, but I feel like I don't deserve it. I feel like I cheated, but I'll take it.
Cheater, Blumpkin here.
Whatever it takes, man.
I gotta get it.
I will eat your ass.
All right. So, let's move on to the audience score. There's quite, well, I don't know exactly. It might be around the same number of ratings from the audience. There's 100 plus is what we're given. So 100 plus verified ratings to cull through here. I'm going to go in reverse order and have Bob, why don't you defend your title here and see what you can do with this percentage.
Whoa. Yeah, so this is the one that might have been review bombed a little bit. I don't know. So I think it's going to be lower than the critics. Still not like crazy low. I don't think it'll be super low. So I'll take calculating. I'll take an 88.
88. That's a good year.
Word.
All right. Liz, how about you?
I
Where are you coming from
agree.
with this
I
one?
think that people would go on and bomb this much more than the critics just because they like to complain. But I think it's still pretty high and in the 80s. I would say a little bit low. I think around 85.
85. All right. Juice, close us out. Where are you thinking?
Yeah, I guess I'll take the under then, just on the chance that, like, I don't know, 100's not that much, so some downvotes could really swing it, I guess. So I'll say 80.
80? All right. Well, you guys aren't going to believe me when I tell you this. You just simply will not believe. But another person is just 1 percentage point away from glory here. Just one. This time around, I know you. I told you that. You should have believed me when I told you that. The correct percentage for the audience score as it stands right now is 81%. The Juice is going to take this with his 80% estimate. Nicely done. Looking forward to you sneaking in Hell's Skeet at any minute now.
Nope, you're wrong.
It's going to completely take us by surprise.
I believe you.
Well, first of
Well
all,
done.
it's going to be a hell yeet because Bob is Hell's Skeet.
Who cares? Now let's read the critics' consensus really quickly. Delightfully dark, Late Night with the Devil proves possession horror isn't played out and serves as an outstanding showcase for David Dastmalchian. I don't really even think about this movie as a possession movie. Is that weird? Do you guys feel that way? It's just got so much else going on.
Yeah,
like the possession is a huge part, obviously, but
partially
that's
is,
not
yeah,
even the
but-
central thing.
Yeah.
To me.
I guess I
Anyway,
think of
other
it
than-
more, I guess the set dressing is more the focus, like the, you know, the talk show aspect is more of what like will live in my mind. But then,
Yeah, it's
I
whether or
mean,
not the show will be successful because Jack's
Yeah.
hinging everything on it. Like
Yeah.
that's what I think the movie is. So yeah, anyway, just curious. Now I'm gonna do as we always do and read a couple of negative blurbs because sometimes they're funny, often not. We roll the dice anyway, don't we, fellas? Here we go. considering how flagrantly Late Night with the Devil betrays its own aesthetics in other ways, ditching the found footage concept whenever it's convenient, I think the answer is that we shouldn't accept any AI at all. Wow. Who could have seen that coming?
Yeah.
It's like someone sneaking in a hell yeet.
Sounds like
That's what it's
somebody's.
like.
I feel like I should use AI to respond to this because it sounds like AI to me to begin with. Let's jump into one more, and again, totally random. Squanders its potential with an overlong buildup that's too disjointed to be suspenseful, as well as numerous cheats on its found footage premise. I think the cheats on found footage premise is a fair criticism. I think we covered that.
Yeah, I think so.
If you're more bothered by that than me, then I can't blame you.
Yeah.
That's-
And I could see people definitely being more bothered by that.
Yeah, I would be in most found footage movies.
Yeah.
I'm pretty critical of that, I would say.
Mhm.
But something about the way this is done and my own, like I talked about, my Larry Sanders obsession, like that really made it a non-issue for me.
Yep.
So yeah, that's our Rotten Tomatoes segment. Bob, I think you might have covered all the trivia.
Yeah, we pretty much handled it all in our discussion.
Okay.
So we can roll right along into our Cooter of the Week.
Straight chillin'.
Cooter of the week.
Juice, what is the Cooter and why do we hunt them?
Well, sir, Cooter's a character type and a straight chillin' exclusive. Cooter must hit 3 of these 5 points to be considered a Cooter, but we want the Cooter with the most points. The 5 points of Cooterdom are sexual deviance, manipulation, smug arrogance, overall look and attire, and overall patheticness. Liz, I believe you had a strong case for a Cooter, so I'll kick it off with you.
I am picking Carmichael as
All
my
right.
Cooter of the Week. I don't know any. Well, no, he wants to join the Grove just for the orgies. So
Just for
we've
the
got our
orgies.
sexual deviancy. We have his look and
Who among
attire.
us, though?
I know. So we're all going to be deviants in that one. His look and attire, definitely. I mean, yes. And then his smug conjecture. That guy is like a human eye roll to everybody who walks on the stage. So yeah, we got him there. He's not pathetic or anything like that. And maybe a tiny bit at the end when he, it's
Yeah.
like, take me,
He can't give this
Lord
away.
Satan. He can't
Yeah.
give that check away.
True.
But yeah, Carmichael, I think, is the only one who meets the majority of the criteria.
Yeah.
That's a
yeah, that
that's
was
a
strong.
really strong entrant.
Was there what
And-
there was one point we didn't
Well, hold
consider
on.
for
Manipulation.
Manipulation.
which
Oh,
he
yeah,
does do that
totally-
whole worm
Yes.
thing.
I
So
think he
Yeah.
does.
So
Yeah.
well, that's his whole thing as an
Yeah,
his
illusionist
whole
is to
thing.
manipulate. But
Yeah.
also he kind of is trying to manipulate Jack into getting him into the club.
True,
so,
true, yeah.
I
So
mean-
he hits pretty hard on all the points.
Mhm.
Yeah. Oh well,
Yeah.
a little softer maybe on patheticness, but yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
At
Well,
least
all right.
until the end. he's
Was there?
not
How
pathetic,
about
but-
old Jack? What do you guys think about our boy
Yeah.
Jack?
My second choice.
Yeah.
I think that's a
Pathetic?
strong contender.
So
Patheticness?
pathetic as he sacrifices his wife for ratings.
Yeah.
Well, not
Yeah.
Yeah, that's I would qualify that as pathetic. Yes.
I mean, it's
yes.
understandable,
It's-
but
I mean,
It was
The-
sweet sweets. Come on, guys.
the love of one person versus the love of millions, guys. I
Yeah.
mean, come on, it's basic math.
oh man,
quick
the trolley
math.
problem at us again.
I mean, I'd sacrifice.
What will these people
Bob
do
if
without
our
me making
show
them
would
smile?
But we all know that would never happen.
So yes.
Get here.
Patheticness, manipulation for sure.
Yeah, for
Yes,
sure.
absolutely. He's
He
manipulating
talks
literally
June.
everybody except for maybe his producer.
Yeah. I
Maybe.
mean,
He,
we don't know
uh,
what he was doing at the orgy, so maybe some sexual.
Probably not having sex.
Like a
That's
weird-
why I go to the orgies, not
Get behind me, Satan.
more of a watcher, myself.
Okay, that was a perfect bump. Thank you, Randy. I'll applaud that one.
Come on.
Yeah, full blown manipulation. Manipulates June into doing the whole demon thing that she doesn't want to do. Sexual deviance. I'll just assume he's up to no good out in the grove
I
for
mean,
sure.
Yeah.
I don't know if you get I don't know if you can walk in with clothes on a Grove
Yeah,
party.
I
Is
don't
it allowed? Who knows?
Win in
Uh,
Grove.
Yeah, so he at least I
Yes.
think he at least hits high enough to be considered a cooter. He's probably not
Absolutely.
gonna beat out our boy, but he hits high enough for sure.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I think that like
Looking
his
at Tyre
patheticness,
would
his
not be
manipulation, his
one. I don't
look at a
think.
tire. He looks good for that era.
Yeah.
It's like it's holding up. Okay. um,
Yeah.
sexual deviancy we don't know. Manipulation we definitely know. Smug arrogance.
Manipulation,
Smug arrogance.
arrogance.
I think I don't know if it's smug arrogance so much as it is like I think it might be just patheticness. Like
desperation.
this is the thing is
Yeah,
like this is where I think
desperation.
about Larry Sanders all the more because that show is entirely centered around he and Hank Kingsley, his sidekicks, complete and utter childish narcissism and pettiness. That it's like it's totally proto Curb Your Enthusiasm in that way, except they're not aggressive like they're more weaselly than Larry David ever is. So that's what I get from him is like so pathetic that he needs the love of strangers more than he needs anything else in his life.
Mhm.
So, yeah,
I think we got
I don't know if
him.
it's arrogance. Yeah, I think that Carmichael though edges him out.
Yeah. Was
I
there
don't
all
think
he
you
brings
know
to the
enough
table.
about the other characters to really say.
No.
Everybody else is just
Yeah.
kind of glossed
Yeah.
over.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Well, we got
Carmichael.
two. That's high enough.
Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah. Yeah.
that's good.
I like it when you
All
talk
the
about.
narcissistic, devil-worshipping filth.
God damn. All right, now I don't want to hear any more of those bumps, Brandon. You can't do it.
Too
Can't do it.
bad.
Randy, you
Yeah.
waited a year to talk about this movie, and now it's going to be taken off the air because you're about to get sued by old Alex.
There you go. That
Alex
one is
Jones
okay.
is coming for your scrote.
Yeah.
Yeah, he doesn't have the money to come after me.
Let me get that scrote. Okay. Let's. Does anybody have a hard out? Because we got a lot of voicemails. I don't know if we have time for what we've been watching too.
I'm okay on time today.
You all right? Okay, let's do a quick what we've been watching then.
Oh shit, that's my cue.
Hey gang, what you been watching?
Oh, Randy. Always on time. Liz, what else you been watching this week?
I just got back from South by Southwest and I saw an awesome Irish horror movie called Oddity. It is
Ooh.
written and directed by Damien McCarthy. It is got tons of jump scares. You see them coming, but it doesn't matter. You jump anyway. It is a lot of fun and super creative and new. It's going to be playing at Overlook Film Festival and Panic Fest. And then it's coming to Shudder in the summer. So
Cool.
people will be able to get to see that. So I want to talk about that one. And then I just went to the theater to see Rose Glass's sophomore film, Love Lies Bleeding, starring Kay Stu, Kristen Stewart, and it's got Dave Franco and Ed Harris. And it is about lesbian bodybuilders and crime and a little bit of magical realism. And it is bonkers, crazy, and great. And I totally recommend it. Rose Glass made Saint Maud, which is one of my all-time favorite movies. And this one did not suck. And then for nice stuff, I've been watching Marcel the Shell, which just came to Netflix. And it's charming and lovely when you need a little break from the horror or the lesbian bodybuilders. Shell.
Yeah, I never need a break from that.
From that.
I know. I don't think you
Lesbian
do.
bodybuilders are my escape from
Yeah.
horror. So.
But that's what
Damn.
I've been watching.
Rad, right on. Randeezy, what about you?
Yeah, I haven't had a ton of time this week, but I did manage to see a few things. One was I watched Ant-Man and the Wasp because Beck and I are slowly, passively going through the timeline of MCU. Diminishing returns, shall we say. I also saw Anatomy of a Fall that just was nominated. It was very, very, very good and very heartbreaking in a lot of ways. It's tough to talk about it beyond that. I just feel like it's a journey you got to go on or not, you know, like it's a very emotional thing. And it's longer than I thought it would be. Jesus Christ, it was longer than I thought it'd be.
It is long, but I felt like the time flew by. It's almost 3 hours.
Eventually
And
it does
I
start flying
complain
by.
about long movies.
Yeah.
I loved it.
I don't, but like I will say the first hour I was like, man, this is feels unfocused somehow. And
yeah.
then once the courtroom stuff started picking up, it became a lot more engrossing for me. I also watched Immaculate, that new Sydney Sweeney film. I have a lot of thoughts on it. I liked it. I think that more than anything, I like their new ad campaign, which is just taking people's hateful Twitter responses, calling it blasphemous, and putting it on a poster. I think it's the funniest fucking movie ad I've seen in a while, is that they're doing that, because it is like pretty goddamn blasphemous, if I'm being perfectly honest with you. It's got a lot of that sort of thing. I don't know how to describe it without spoiling things, so I'll just leave it at that. I did enjoy those, like maybe a little bit, I don't know, underbaked, or it had a little bit of schlock in my prestige film, you know, like, which could go either way. I'm still not entirely sure how I feel about it, but I feel mostly positive. I do know that much. I just don't know how positive. What else? Okay, Little Shop of Horrors. I finally got to see the live production of Little Shop of Horrors. Longtime listeners will know that this is one of my favorite movies, and I have never gotten to see it live, never gotten to see Audrey 2 perform, and we got to see it at Ford's Theater. They're doing a production here in DC, which is really cool. Additional points for historical bullshit. And also, weirdly, one of my partner Peck's old co-workers was Audrey 2 in this production.
Whoa.
He's also a stage actor, and he was Audrey 2, and he did a great job, which is just fucking wild coincidence. We didn't know that until we sat down. So,
That's cool.
I know that plant.
yeah, that plant sounds awfully familiar. Was he at our Halloween party? Yeah, that's it for me.
Right on, Juice. What you been watching?
So I mentioned this director a couple weeks ago. He's a Korean director. The film I mentioned before was On the Beach at Night Alone, where it was about a director, him having an affair with one of the actresses that was in his movie from a couple years before, and then they announced it on opening night. So this is a film that came out before that. It's 2013. It's called Nobody's Daughter Haewon. And it's also about an affair. So it's about a university student having an affair with her teacher. And I'm like, okay, I think this guy's like got a problem.
This guy has an affair.
Yeah, I guess.
Maybe monogamy's not for you, friend.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just there for the
So
orgies.
yeah, this one was not as good as On the Beach at Night Alone, but it did have another very awkward dinner scene where people kind of like find out about the affair at the dinner, and they're all just like still trying to eat and kind of be polite, but it's super awkward, which is what happened on the night the beach and Night Alone or whatever. It's like so hard to watch because it feels like, if anything, he's good at doing that, because like maybe the awkwardness or like the of the reality of an affair, not the titillating sneaking around parts and stuff. It's like the out in the openness and like the guilt that you feel, or like other people finding out about it and how they view you and stuff. So yeah, I was like, holy shit, another affair, Jesus Christ.
This is an allegory.
Yeah, I'm almost done with my Ghibli journey. I watched My Neighbors, the Yamadas, which was very cute. And this was not a Miyazaki film, but this one was a cute, different art style. The thing that works for it and also kind of hurts it in just the grand scheme of all the films is it's not a straight narrative. It's these little vignettes, and it's essentially about this middle-class Japanese family. And it was released in the 90s, and it kind of fits like the 90s, you know, like kind of sitcom vibe of that era. And so it's really cool to see, like, from a Japanese perspective, like some of the things they're doing, the grumpy kind of dad, and you know, the kids and brother and sister and kind of fighting but getting along together. And ultimately it's like very sweet. And but yeah, I like that one. It was very cute. I also doing my lunchtime Marvel watches. I had some stinkers, so I had to go to Marvel Civil War, which I knew at least was like fun, much better than like Age of Ultron and Guardians of the Galaxy 2. I was like, oh, I need a break from those. So yeah, I watched that one. And then I just went back and watched like some older, or well, not older, but not new horror. So I rewatched. We talked about Midsummer last week, so I was kind of jonesing to watch that one. Also, since I had watched that one, I was like, oh, I need to go back and revisit The Lighthouse too, because that was like Ari Aster's second film and also Robert Eggers' second film. So I was just kind of like bouncing off those, which were both
Man.
great.
I love The Lighthouse so much, but I'm
Mhm.
terrified and therefore never in the mood to go back to it. I'm like,
Oh yeah.
do I want to get into
Yeah.
this again? Am I ready for
Yeah.
this much?
You know, it didn't like nothing was lost for me. Like, so yeah, it's a good film still. And The Black Phone, which was a controversial, pick a couple years ago, and somebody's top list, but yeah, it held up about the same. Maybe I liked it even honestly like a little bit less. But like it was one of those good like middle of the road, got some good stuff, got some bad stuff in it, horror films. But yeah, it was fine. It was fine to revisit. That's all I've been watching. Bob, what you been watching, my guy?
Oh, the controversy. Oh my goodness.
Top 10. Oh, people are still talking
Ugh.
about it.
You are. You are.
People.
The people. Yeah, I watched a handful of things this week. That docuseries that just hit on HBO called Quiet on Set about all the heinous things that happened during 90s kid show productions over at Nickelodeon with Dan Schneider at the helm. Dan Schneider was in a lot of those shows, and we all watched those as a kid. I didn't know he was a producer at all. I just thought he was an actor. I had no idea. A lot of really horrible things happened, and it sucks. It's a huge bummer. It was enlightening because obviously I didn't know anything about it. So that's there if you want to watch something kind of sad. Watched a couple more episodes of Mr. and Miss Smith on Amazon with Donald Glover. That show is surprisingly badass. I didn't really have much of an interest in watching it. We just kind of threw it on one night, and like I'm hella intrigued. Actually, it's pretty good. You want like an action TV show? Check it out. It holds up pretty well. I started watching Batman Beyond, so like something I watched as a kid.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's fun. It's a good time. I've probably watched like 8, maybe 10 episodes of it so far. Just randomly throughout the week, I'll throw it on, and I've been enjoying it quite a bit. Actually, it has like a Fifth Element-y kind of vibe going for it, and the intro like sequence is the most like 90s rave
yeah.
dance. Yeah, it's so of the era. It's crazy, man.
Yeah, it is.
But I've been enjoying watching that pretty good. And finally, I did watch the new Roadhouse remake that's also on Amazon with Jake Gyllenhaal, who I'm not generally a fan of. I think he's a pretty good actor, and he does a good job. He's shredded up in this, as he tends to be these days. It's too long. It's so long. It's over 2 hours long. The first hour is fine. It takes place down in the Keys. It's a very beautiful setting. It's the story. He gets hired. They pay him all this money to go down and get rid of the riffraff at a roadhouse. And it's fine. Halfway through, Conor McGregor shows up, and the movie just like tanks when he gets there. He is not an actor. And I just like hate every second he's on screen. Really, really do. It's not good. The first half is all right, but it's not. The ending is just so. Specifically, like the actual climax of the movie is like so bad. I think it's very it's bad. Watch the original.
you know your judo well.
I'm a hater. I know there's folks out there that don't hate it nearly as much as I do. I thought it was bad. Conor McGregor does not need to be in any other movie ever again. Please don't hire that man. And that's what I've been watching this week.
Whew. Work
There
a
you
sweat
go.
on that one.
Oh yeah. So yeah, like I mentioned already, we've got three voicemails. So let's go ahead and get into our hotline screens.
Hotline screen.
If you are listening and would like to call in and leave a voicemail to be featured on next week's show, hit us up at 904-638-3231. 3 voicemails and an email, actually, this week. First up, we're going to hear from our boy, Corey. Let's hear what Corey has to say.
What is up, Great Show Crew? It's your boy Corey T coming at you from Tampa. So I mostly just wanted to say I photographed Collective Con in Jacksonville like 2 weeks ago now. I want to give you a little story. I got to meet Jeffrey Reddick, the creator of the Final Destination franchise. He's a really swell guy. And yeah, I attended this panel. Nobody else showed up. It was on Friday at 4 o'clock, so like no big surprise. And then on Saturday early morning, I walked by and was chatting with him. And then I don't know what I said, but I somehow like backhand complimented him, and he caught on to it immediately and like just chucked it right back at me and like drew attention to it, just drove that knife right in. And I was so embarrassed. He was a really swell guy. Like we ended up chatting about every hour. I would walk by his booth and chat with him for a minute. And he definitely kind of needed that like relief. But no, it was a lot of fun if you ever get the chance to meet him. Jeffrey Reddick is a great guy. Also, there was a question about nipple twerking, titty twerking, I think, in the Ticks episode. Other than the good old-fashioned purple nurple as a kid. Really the only recent time would be last week. I got a tattoo that covered part of my nipple, and let me tell you, that's a lot of titty twerking right there. So I guess 2024, first year in maybe like 20-something years that I've got my nipple twerked. So, yeah. Hope you boys are doing well. Have fun with this call.
Sounds like he got his comeuppance to me.
Dude,
Corey, you
nipple
need,
tattoo sounds painful.
Yeah, man. Oof.
He's clearly a sadist. We all know that
Tweet
about
me.
Corey. God damn. The guy that created the Final Destination franchise, randomly enough, Mikey's father, Mikey from our sister podcast, Let's Get Physical Media, Mikey's father was on an airplane flying out of Jacksonville, and he was sitting right next to that guy. And
Oh, no.
He just
Off that
stressed.
plane.
Yeah. Excuse me. Getting off now.
I gotta go. This guy's crazy. But they struck up a conversation. He ended up taking like a video of himself saying like hi to Mikey, because we're all horror nerds,
That's
obviously. And his dad knows that. So yeah, that's cool. That's cool. Cool that Corey got to meet him. And yeah, he does sound like a great dude. Sorry that Corey
sounds like a real good guy
him.
to insult.
Right. Making us all look bad.
He's
per
going to be
usual.
thinking about that in 10 years, late night at 2 a.m. when he can't sleep. Like, oh my God, I can't believe I said that.
He's going to write it into a movie. Cooter Corey in Final Destination 13.
Oh, man.
So yeah, good to hear from you, Corey. It's been a minute. I hope your titties are okay. Take care of them.
Yeah, I got to check out
Yes.
that tattoo. I wonder what he got. I'll hit him up.
Yeah, send us a picture of just the nipple portion of the tattoo.
Let me see that.
Seventh nipple I've seen today.
Actually, I'm going to text him right now. Exactly.
Let me see that nip, boy.
Let me see that nip.
Thanks for calling in, man. Hope you're lotioning those nips regularly.
Rob is really hoping. I assure you.
God. We got two more. Next up, we're gonna hear from our boy Hydraberg. Let's hear what he's got to say.
Hey, what up, fellas? It's your boy Hydraberg. Yeah, I'm just calling in. I just wanted to thank you guys again for having me on for Ticks. It was a great time, and thank you also for having me on as well, Mikey and Bob on Let's Get Physical Media. Had a great time. Definitely rode the high that week. It was nice being included in both those conversations. But what I'm calling in for is, y'all know I won a Patreon pick this week, and I'm in a giving mood. I would like to give it away. But there's a certain someone I want to give it away to, but he's very elusive. One Hugh Janus. I repeat, huge Janus, huge anus. Yeah, Hugh, I know you're like not the biggest horror guy. Like you're kind of getting into the genre more so through the podcast, which is great because that's a lot of us did. So what I'd like to do is like I'm sure there's some films maybe that you like from the past or recently. I don't know. I just figured maybe I'd give you a pick. So I want to give you my Patreon pick. You can get the enamel pin and the sticker and anything else that comes with it, or you can just take a pick, whatever you want to do. You work it out with Bob. I would contact Bob through Patreon or any other means. I don't want you to give away your identity, that's for sure. You need to maintain a mystery. But I don't know, I just thought it would be a cool thing to give away the pick to someone like you. You've added a lot of nice fun times to the show. You become a little part of the show itself, and I don't know, I kind of just want to pay it forward. So yeah, light the signal, put it in the sky, and Janus, if you want the pick, respond as soon as you can, and then you can pick a film for Bob to cover. Otherwise, I guess maybe I'll pick something myself. But I'd like to give it to you first, sir. So hit us up, hit Bob up. Anyway, guys, love you. Keep chilling. All right. Peace.
Look at this giving
Whoa.
community.
Throwing
Gotta
up the
love that shit.
Janus signal.
Yeah, I didn't know that guests. I didn't know guests could throw up the signal, but I'm happy that it's happening.
Yeah.
Hugh Janus, call in. What are you gonna pick for us, my guy?
What if
I'm
there's some
excited.
like butthole centered horror movie that he chooses? Like that's
I mean,
whatever he
what
wants.
if?
Whatever he wants. It's probably gonna be something really old.
One of those
Right.
Probably
one of
something
those
with
vintage
childhood in the
butthole horror
1910s,
movies.
you know, one of those silent horror films.
Georges Méliès famously made his butthole horror The Crack of Doom in 1903. Yeah, thanks
Can't wait
for
to
calling
watch
in,
it.
man.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Can't wait to
Heidelberg.
watch.
Thanks.
Yeah, it's very
Also, I
very-
can't wait for like a year from now when Hugh finally listens to this episode. He's like, oh shit.
Yeah.
I haven't seen that
I'm
Late Night with the
wondering-
Devil yet. Better hold on
Fuck,
to that one.
I hadn't seen it yet. I didn't listen.
Right. He'll listen in October because it's a Halloween movie.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, hopefully he listens. And Hugh, yeah, if you are listening and you're interested, you can we're all over social media. Just search Straight Showing Podcast and send us a message on anything, or on Patreon, because I know you're on Patreon. You can send us a message on there. And
Hated
we'll
website
work it
by
out.
globalists.
Hated website by nobody. We all love it. Yeah, thanks for calling Heidelberg. Thanks for being the Santa Claus of Straight Chillin'. We love it. Next up, we're going to hear from our friend Heidi. Let's hear what she's got to say.
Hey guys, it's Heidi. I haven't called in a while, but I've been on the Slack and enjoying communicating with you guys on that. I was just calling to chime in with some springtime movies since that was the last question y'all posted. I was going to bring up one from 2021 called The Feast. It's in Welsh, I believe, and it is kind of a folk horror. It seems very spring to me. It's got a lot of environmental elements in it, and one of the most non-graphic violence scenes I can think of in recent years I've seen. So that one's really good for spring. And then there's another one I've yet to watch. It's on Canopy, called Family Dinner, and that one is an Easter set movie. I believe it's in German, and it came out in 2022, I think. And I'm driving, so I don't have the synopsis, but I think it's about a teenager that goes to her aunt's house for Easter weekend, and things go bad from there. So that is called Family Dinner from 2022 in German. And then The Feast from 2021, the Welsh language. So those are some extra spring ones. Again, Family Dinner, I've yet to watch it, but as soon as I do, I'll have to get back to you guys on Slack and see, what I thought. And anyway, the ones you guys talked about, I agree with. I want to add It Follows, because to me that one feels very spring. Also, oh gosh, Spring Breakers, of course, that's horror adjacent, but that's one I like to throw on when it's springtime. So anyway, those are some other ideas. And I look forward to hearing what y'all think. Okay. Bye.
Good to hear from Heidi again. It's been a little bit.
Yeah.
I have not seen The Feast or Family Dinner. Have any of you guys
Both
seen
I
it?
haven't seen those either.
Have you?
Oh,
Yeah.
Liz, lay some
So-
knowledge on us.
The Feast was on everybody on the Scariest Things top 10 list of the year it came out.
shit.
It
Nice.
is Welsh, it is folk horror, and it is wonderful. I'm gonna look
Wow.
up where you can see it, but Family Dinner is an Easter movie, and it's about an overweight teen who goes to her aunt's farm, and her aunt is like a nutritionist because she wants to lose weight. And it's a horror movie, so you can guess like what she's eating at family dinner, but it is for like an Easter celebration. So she's kind of doing like a Lenten fast to lose weight and prepare for their Easter celebration. So that one's also on Tubi, one of my favorite places in the world. But where can you see Feast? You can see Feast on Hulu, and it came out in 2021. Also a dinner party, but this is like a wealthy Welsh family who is hosting a dinner party for like people who like the husband's company or something, and they hire someone to help prepare the dinner. So
Nice.
very good.
Solid
We're great.
pulls.
So we have somebody capable on the show. It's great. It's a great show.
Otherwise, we'd be like, ain't never heard of them films.
I
or-
don't know what a movie is, so you're gonna have to level this one out for me.
Dope Pigs, Heidi. Thanks for calling in. And thanks for actually knowing what they're about, Liz. That's awesome and very
Thanks to both of
helpful. Badass. Yeah. So actually, like I mentioned, we do have an email as well that's largely about more spring related movies that we can get to real quick. I do think it's before we move on real quick. Heidi mentioned It Follows. In my mind, that's such a summer movie, but I watched it last summer. And I think it's actually a fall movie because there's like a couple scenes where you see like a pumpkin laying around in the back. It's not like overtly fall, but I think it's such a summer movie in my mind because they spend a lot of time like in the pool in the backyard and at the ocean and stuff like that. So I don't know. I think it's actually a fall movie, but we're getting spring and summer vibes.
Can't watch
clearly.
it in spring. Then.
It's a wild card.
Yeah, it could be apparently anything but winter. So we do have an email from Caitlin M. Juice, do you have that pulled up?
I do. Here we go. Hey, Straight Chillin' crew. My name is Caitlin. I've been listening to for about 6 or 7 years now. I'm the gremlin that made you watch Rawhead Rex. Sorry about that. Anyway, I too am big into seasonal horror movie watching, and spring has always been the toughest season to come up with a list for. But I did just that, and it's listed below. I know there are more that fit into these subcategories, but I didn't include movies that I don't really care for or haven't seen. But I love to get some more suggestions. Thanks, guys. The list: St. Patrick's Day, the Leprechaun franchise. That's it.
That's the end of the list.
April Fool's Day. April Fool's Day from 1986, and Killer Party from 1986. So. Spring Break category: Shallow Grave 1987, Nightmare Beach 1989, Jeepers Creepers 2001. Easter: The Being 1981, Critters Deuce: The Main Course 1988. Prom: Carrie, Prom Night, Hello Mary Lou, Prom Night Deuce. Texas Chainsaw Massacre: The Next Generation, The Rage, Carrie Deuce, and The Loved Ones. A lot of deuces in that one. The
The Next Generation made the cut when she's filtering for favorites. Hey, not to judge, but strange choice.
Graduation subcategory: The Prowler, Graduation Day, The House on Sorority Row, and Sorority Row. And a miscellaneous category that's got The Wicker Man, Alien. She's got The Wicker Man celebrates May Day. Alien 1979. Alien Day is celebrated on 4/26 because LV-426 is the name of a moon in the film. Okay. The Fog 1980, set on April 21st. I think Bob mentioned that one. And Tucker and Dale vs. Evil, set on Memorial Day weekend. Oh man, that's a good one.
That's a nice straddle to summer. I think of that as a summer movie, but
me too.
I,
But yeah,
I could push
Memorial
that to
Day,
spring. Yeah.
Solid list. Do you guys want to
Memorial Day Massacre? That's right.
Kind of one at a time touch on these holidays and see if there's anything else we want to recommend or mention? Just see if we can add to it at all real quick.
We can try.
Try. I had so for St. Patrick's Day being the first one, I did have one movie that's I don't think really directly related to St. Patrick's Day. But you guys remember that movie Grabbers? It's an Irish film.
Yeah.
They have to drink beer because the aliens that are trying to eat them or whatever like are allergic or it's like poison to them, so they have to get wasted to stay alive or some shit. Seems fitting, I think.
Also, I don't remember if this happened on St. Patrick's Day or if it's just Irish and I'm being ridiculous, but the Hallow, have you guys seen that?
Yeah, I think it's just.
It's at least very Celtic, and so it's got like some imagery and stuff that I think would be appropriate for St. Patrick's Day. That's my memory of it, anyway.
Actually, I mentioned it. I think I watched it like in January. It's an Irish horror film, and it's set in this kind of like cabin, but there's this weird rabbit doll that's in it. Let me look that up. It's on my letterbox.
It's somewhat new. Yeah, I've seen that.
Yeah, it came out within the past couple years. I think 2021. I'll see. So maybe that's kind of a stretch between like Easter and St. Patrick's Day. Maybe.
Caveat.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
That's the guy who made Oddity that I was just saying.
Oh, okay.
Oh shit! There you go.
Nice.
Oh yeah, there you go.
I haven't seen it though yet.
Yeah, it's solid. It's good.
It's got a bunny.
It's on Shudder, I think.
Yeah.
I think that's where I watched it. Yeah. So, all right, there's one, kind of.
Yeah. Move on. April Fool's Day. Any other additions for this one?
What's that Hulu movie? I'm just fucking with you. That's April Fool's Day.
Yeah.
I think they did one for a lot of different holidays. Like,
yeah, that's true.
Yeah, they did a whole series.
Was it Into the Dark or something? That was
Into the Dark. Yeah, they did one a month for a couple years. I don't think they're doing it anymore. I remember that I'm just fucking with you one was I liked it quite a bit.
I like that one a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they're like kind of short movies, kind of like somewhere between movie and short.
Right.
But I think they count. That's an easy thing to watch. Treehouse was one as well that I didn't like so much. That had Jimmy, oh, what's his name? Jimmy Simpson. And yeah, that's about it for here anyway. There's a bunch of them from other years though.
Mm-hmm.
I would just double down the recommendation of April Fool's Day and Killer Party. Both are pretty solid for April Fool's Day. But yeah, I don't have anything else to add really to that one. Kind of slim pickings.
I have 2 Mardi Gras movies. That's always in the spring. It's going to be anywhere
right.
from February to March. Hatchet takes place in the bayous of Louisiana after Mardi Gras, and then not as good. Candyman 2 is set at Mardi Gras here. So yeah,
not as good.
Not as good. But
have you ever seen Mardi Gras Massacre?
I have not seen it, which I
you
just
don't have to.
found out that it existed.
Oh,
okay.
Well, in that vein, does Mona Lisa and the Killer
and the Blood Moon
is that happen during and the Blood Moon happen on Mardi Gras? No, it's just New Orleans. Okay,
but it's just here.
It is
I
New
always
Orleans.
think like
though,
if they're super sweaty, it's summertime. If they're not sweaty, it's spring.
That's a fair metric.
Yeah,
yes.
Yeah.
Spring break.
Spring break. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know if I have another one. So we just talked about spring with Caitlin on Plug It Up. So that's one that's definitely worth checking out. In addition to the movies that were recommended, Jeepers Creepers. I don't remember that being on spring break, but I guess it is.
I didn't either.
Yeah, I don't know. I haven't seen that movie in a long time.
Nightmare Beach is a really fun one. I recommend that as well. I'll double down on that. Have you guys seen Nightmare Beach? Have you seen that, Liz?
Oh, I haven't seen that.
It's a slasher movie from the 80s. It takes place in South Florida, maybe Daytona. I can't remember exactly. And there's this guy who's like a mass murderer or whatever, and he gets the electric chair. That's how the movie starts. He dies, and like his spirit becomes this sort of undead slasher on a motorcycle because he was part of this motorcycle gang. And the way he kills people isn't with like, knives or whatever. He's got this rig on his motorcycle that's an electric chair that he shocks people to death with. And that's
sit on this bike.
What he does. It is ridiculous. It's Italian, but it was shot in Florida. It's fun. It's a really fun, goofy slasher. There you go.
Piranha 3D is apparently Spring Break. I didn't know that.
Oh, okay.
And then we have Club Dread, Liz's
Yep, I love it.
boo, Club Dread,
Sorry.
and Rob's villain.
Yep.
My boo.
Yeah.
All right. Easter? Any Rex for Easter?
I've
Oh,
never
man.
seen it, but people always talk about how like sad and depressing this movie is, or some like Watership Down, which is just a bunch of rabbits.
Oh,
Yeah.
Yeah.
That scarred everybody in my generation.
Oh no.
Because parents brought it home from the video store. I
Oh
think
no.
it was like 1978 they probably animated it. And I mean it's bunnies. They rip each other apart and bloodshed everywhere. I
damn.
love the book, but the cartoon is traumatizing. It's
Damn.
traumatizing. And then Netflix did a series also that's a little bit less traumatizing.
All right.
Like I think
Oh, I didn't know that.
2020. Yeah, like James McAvoy plays
Oh, wow.
Hazel, the main bunny.
Night of the Lepus is one I have not seen, but I know by reputation as being the movie with giant killer bunny rabbits that are just bunny rabbits filmed on a miniature set. And
Cool.
it's very funny to look at.
Cool.
So actual
Um,
rabbits.
Yes. Terrifying bunny rabbits.
All right.
There was that one short on that anthology movie called Holidays that had an Easter short that was like a
Yeah.
Jesus bunny mutant
Jesus
thing that
Christ.
was pretty fucked up. There's
That
that.
was really fucked up. Yeah.
Yeah, it was pretty fucked. Also, The Being, I'll double down on that because The Being fucks.
Rob loves the Bing.
There you go. Prom. I mean, we got some classics here, but
Yeah.
anything not mentioned?
Not that stood out to
I
me.
can't
Yeah.
think of any really. Like Carrie's the one that my brain instantly goes to. The Loved Ones is a
Maybe-
good pull.
Like
Night of the
Buffy
Creeps.
the Vampire Slayer? Is that prom? Is that their final dance? Is that at the prom?
Is it?
Or is that like the
Maybe-
winter
I
formal?
think it's just
Oh,
a
yeah,
senior.
Oh, it's
a
just like a senior dance?
Yeah.
Oh
Night
yeah,
of
it's
the
one early in the
Creeps
year.
Yeah.
Is I can't remember if Night of the Creeps is legit prom, but that's a good one. Like they're getting ready to go to a dance. It might be prom. I can't remember.
Mm.
I can't
Another one
remember
that's
exactly
just
either,
at
but it,
school and it's kind of bright and sunny is oh god, my mind just shut down. Groundhog's Day, but it's horror. What is that movie?
oh,
Happy
Happy
Death Day.
Death
Happy
Day.
Death
Happy
Day.
Death Day. Yep, yep. So I don't know.
Yeah, that
It's
could-
just
that
kind of
could
like a
pass.
Yeah.
bright movie and it's at
Yeah.
school. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know what time it is, but
Like the sun was
What
out. It's probably the
time
spring.
is it's
that's
prom.
probably
sun is
that's probably
shining.
Easter.
Yeah.
Graduation next up.
Oh, man,
Some tough ones.
I know what you did last summer.
yeah, that's
Katie?
the only one that like
Yeah, I
pops in
feel
my
like
mind.
graduation's all summer
Yeah.
because I was thinking Cabin
Yeah.
Fever. They go right after they graduated.
Yeah.
That's like a summer kickoff.
Yeah.
Tough one.
Yeah.
It's like right on the line.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. House on Sorority Row is a good one.
Yeah.
Solid. Yeah. I don't, anything else you guys want to recommend? There's the miscellaneous is all that's left,
Miscellaneous,
so.
really the only one was I know it's like the name of it, but still Midsummer with all the flowers really makes me think more of spring. It just I don't
Yeah.
I mean it goes either way because it's bright and warm or whatever, but just like so much focus on like flowers and like birth, and so it just feels more spring themed to me.
That's a lot. A lot.
I think that's a good fair one, honestly. And then I'm gonna double down on Midnight Mass because,
And
of course.
Mass, yeah, it's a great one.
Solid.
Yeah.
All right. Solid. A lot of good recs there, Caitlin. Thanks for writing into us. Don't be a stranger. Hit us up. You know where we're at. You know where we live. And anybody else listening who would like to call in and leave a voicemail, again, you can do so at 904-638-3231. Any other prompts you guys want to throw out for next week?
Oh man.
I have no idea what we're covering. No idea.
Yeah, as
Yeah.
always, we have to ask what we're covering in order to have any ideas.
Well, we're going to be hitting up our first Patreon pick of the second quarter of the year.
Whoa.
And it's going to be chosen by Kinefis Prime, and the movie
Hell yeah.
is Silver Bullet from 1985.
Ooh. All right. Well,
Is
how
that-
about
is
this?
that werewolf themed?
Yeah, it is.
Yeah. So what's your favorite lycanthrope in film? Tell me. What's the one that you like, either because you like the transformations, or it's just the most deadly, or the funniest, or the coolest, whatever you think. I just want to know who your favorite werewolf is going to be.
And tell me why it's from Underworld.
No, I mean, anybody who wants to call in, if you have
I was
one, by
gonna
all
say,
means.
Yeah.
Underworld, yeah.
Whoa, there you go. All right.
No, it's American Werewolf
Alright,
in London,
well.
but then I'm picking Underworld.
Oh, I wonder why.
Oh my.
It's probably the wolf cop wolf, because you actually see the wolf hog. So.
Oh, shit.
A half star, right, Bob?
Used
For
to
the
have to
wolf
settle for the
hog.
wolf nards in Monster Squad.
Probably one of those distant howling, sequels. The
Howling
Howling
7.
6
Yeah.
is probably a good one.
I think the tried and true of Ginger Snaps is going to carry me. I like that
Yeah.
depiction.
I did, though. I rewatched American Werewolf in London the last spooky season. Man, that was so good. It was so good.
That's a
Such
fun
good
fucking movie, man.
It really is good. Kind of romantic, too.
Yeah.
So
Totally.
Valentine's Day. I don't know.
They're probably going to prom.
Yeah.
Probably.
It's romantic, so it's a Valentine's Day
It's
movie, of course.
Valentine's Day.
There you go. Cool. Yeah, call in 904-638-3231. Check out Silver Bullet next week. Get ready for next week's review. Liz, thank you so much for sitting in with us. This was seriously a long time coming. We've been trying to make this happen. It was really great having you on, and look forward to hanging with you in New Orleans yet again this year.
Yes, thank you. It was awesome. Good
Yeah.
times.
Check out Scariest Things everywhere you get your podcasts. You definitely won't regret checking them out. You know where to find us. Straight Chilling Podcast on all the socials. If you want to join our Slack channel, just hit us up on social media anywhere and let us know you'd like to join, and I'll send you a link so you can do so. And until next week, as always, all you mother truckers, please keep chilling.
Do that, and you'll earn your way to the next level.